Storytime with Verolga Leilani. Today's topic is gambling intuition.
Yeah, it was one of my first, I guess it was kind of how I learned to train my intuition. When I was an early teen, my mum would take me on cruise ships. I was kind of like her sidekick. I had no fear, so we would go on extreme sport excursions and cruise ships and all kinds of wonderful travelling things. And she's barely 5 foot and I'm 5'11", and I was probably almost that height by the time I was early teens, so probably around that time. And they never would guess, because of our ethnicities, that we were related, so they didn't look close enough to see that she was actually my mum, and they would think that I was older than her elder friend, when in fact I was probably about 14 and she was probably 40 something. I can't do the maths right now, but yeah, it was a great time. Oh, I forgot, let me backtrack. Okay, so the gambling started when there was going to be a lottery ticket, and I picked the numbers. And my mum didn't trust me. She trusted this man from the street who was, I think, slightly inebriated. And she played his numbers, and my numbers came up naturally, exactly as I said them, and exactly in order. And she was just like, ever since that, she just kept trying to get me to play the numbers after that. And the crazy thing was, with the pressure, it became more difficult to kind of get that, to tap into that vibration of the numbers. And when she would do it that way, I just couldn't quite get the numbers. But when we would go on these cruise ships, it started where there was a table and they had, those scratch cards, and I asked the fella sitting at the table, I was like, do I have to pick the one on the end, or can I pick that? And he looked at me like, you think you got something? Oh, you okay? Whatever, you can have whichever one you want to fit. So I looked at, I said, okay, I want that one, and I got it and I scratched it off, and it was $20. I won $20, and he looked at me like, what do you got? So I gave my mum her dollar back. I took the $19 and I went to the roulette table, and I started playing on the roulette table, and I would only play if I felt it, if something came to me. And if it didn't, I wouldn't play. And 100%, you can believe me or you don't, take me to Vegas, but I made that money. And you don't understand when you are that young, when you're a teenager, what you're doing, because there's no pressure, you don't have bills. So there's no stress of winning or losing money. It's just a fun activity. And I got up to about $350 before my mum started to notice what was going on, and she came up to the table and started taking from my money because she was losing. And yes, she paid for the cruise ship and everything, so essentially it was her money, but it started to possibly stress me just a little bit, because my winnings kind of they started not being like that. I wasn't getting the vibrations as much, and I was maybe around $500, which to me at the time it was amazing amount of money. And so I was like, excellent self-control. I said, okay, I'm going to stop. We're going to stop today because it's not, I'm not feeling it. We'll try again at another point. And I realized also that other people's vibrations affected mine. if people had that desperation or that sadness or that frequency of loss, it would affect mine. It would bring mine down if they were around me, whether I knew them or if I didn't. And I realised that, you know, maybe I'll try gambling at night when nobody's there. And an interesting thing happened, which I don't know if I should say this or not, but in the middle of the night I was planning to wake up to go gamble so that I could see if the energy was clearer. And I saw my mum going into the wardrobe and taking some of my coins, some of my chips. I hadn't cashed them out. And I didn't say anything. You know, I just let it happen, you know. What can you say to your mum when you see her going through your stuff and taking your stuff? I mean, she brought me on the cruise. By all, I guess, essentially, it could be hers, although you could also argue that a gift is a gift and you don't owe if you just give it. So that should have been my money. But anyway, essentially, I saw her going into the wardrobe and taking some of my coins and going off in the night to gamble. So the thing is, I also took some of my coins and went off in the night to gamble, but since I knew she was going somewhere, I went on the other side. So I essentially won some more money back, came back. When I came back, I had beaten her, but I also noticed that more of the money had been taken. Middle of the night. So I go back to sleep, and then I go back to sleep because she comes back in shortly after, and I was still awake and I had to come back. And in the morning, got up, acted like nothing had happened, and like I'd been in bed all night, and I guess she was kind of playing the same thing. We went on an excursion because we docked that afternoon, and I asked her, you know, I think some of my coins are missing. And to my shock, she blamed it on the maid. She said she would check with housekeeping, and I learned a lot of things in that moment where I kind of already knew that my mum was lying to me, but that kind of almost solidified it a little bit more, made it more concrete, like actual, like with my eyes saw. It also made me realise that regardless of relationship and how much you love someone, sometimes if you see toxic behaviour, you have to protect yourself from it and your vibration and your energy, even if they have given you something in the past that has benefited you. If they start to bring you down, or they hold you back in a way that negates the benefit that they're bringing to your life, you have to stop it. You have to get away. Yeah. It's just not worth your future, your sanity, your vibration. And it's like, who do you really know? You know, when the ones that you care about and love the most are the ones who could potentially damage you the most. Yeah. But I learned a lot in to trust my intuition, and it got stronger, but also protect it from those who could damage it, no matter how much they mean to you, how much you love them.